Alright guys, we are here with a big old best of 3 straight out of the Team Liquid Star League. That's right, this tournament completed a while ago, but there's a bunch of rounds from the earlier stages that I did not cast, and I'm studying them today because we've got players like Showtime up here, a great defensive macro Protoss, but what my eyes are actually glued to is this cheeky bugger down here, because I often call him the smartest player in all of StarCraft 2, the best preparer, and the guy who is always... he's willing to buck the norm and cut a corner which no one else would even think to cut and get ahead of it. This is Rogue. Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Rogue, and he's already starting off with a 15 hatchery, so he's expecting to have his hatchery blocked. He says, hey, if I go with hatchery 1 supply earlier, you can't block it. Unfortunately for him, Showtime actually going for a very conservative gateway scout. So Rogue maybe not preparing that well for this series, which is even better. Because I kind of tuned into this saying, look, I expect Rogue to win this series. I didn't actually double check the result or anything, but I expect Rogue to win because Rogue stomps most Protoss players, right? Occasionally Zest or Trap or someone will get the edge over him, but Rogue is just so good. And when he does it in a way where he either looks a bit silly if it doesn't work, or the Protoss looks like they never had a chance when he kills them. So I am studying, how are you so disgusting in this matchup? What have you planned? What tricks are you going to pull out? And I know we're going to learn something from it. And how will Showtime hold up? Because Showtime is about the most standard, normal Protoss out there. Does he play Void Rays? Not that much. He does play Oracles. Triple Oracle into third base, into ground Protoss. Does like his Blink styles, does like his Disruptor Blink, and then adding Archons onto it. With the Dark Shrine, very big favorite things he likes to do, but you know, he can flex it a little bit. We'll keep our eyes on it. Maybe he was doing Void Ray builds during this tournament, as you know, as much as he's very standard and sticks to his favorite styles, he does have flexibility as well. These are both top players. Showtime, one of the best players in Germany, rank 2 right now, according to his Ligulac rating, just behind Hero Marine, and Rogue, I believe, rank 1 at the end of the standings as we get right towards the World Champions. Rank 1 or rank 2, he's up there. Him and Maru are both near the very top. I think he's actually the highest in the entire Korean scene. So Rogue, I mean, when he's on, and he looks unstoppable. Now the Stargate goes down, the Overlord sees that Cybercore is not spinning, and it not spinning means Warp Gate did not start. You're going to see a second Adept start, that get chronoed, and only then are you going to see that Warp Gate start spinning. So Rogue should see that, and we'll see how he chooses to do it. It looks like he's sending one Zergling around to confirm what's up. Takes the front third on the triangle formation, and he's just droning on up. Third Queen out front. And we usually expect... yeah, I was going to say we expect a third Queen to be queuing up right around then, and then an Overlord right after. So that Queen into Overlord, definitely continuing to be the pattern. He knows there's a second Adept chronoed, so he's going to build 6 more Zerglings. So 10 Zerglings to deal with the 2 Adepts. Very safe play. Perfectly timed Zergling. And he's going to get in there and say, hey, look, Showtime's building an Oracle. Big surprise. But I love the way he queued that Zergling so far around the edge of the map to confirm. And he just knew ahead of time. I know the timing the second Adept will pop. If he chronos that, and this will be able to just march right in. Zergling's going to get a bit of damage here. He goes for the surround. Should be able to kill one of those Adepts. Does the other one shade? Yes, it does. 2 Zerglings are up there, though. And Rogue... ooh, nice Spore Trick. I mean, as much as I talk about Rogue being a genius and not being as mechanical and crisp under pressure as a Maru or a Dark, he's still got quick hands. He's still a very good StarCraft player on the mechanical level. He just doesn't quite have as much flair and consistency in that regard. But he's going to let those spores finish up now. Wise idea against a guy who loves to play triple Oracle. Zergling's going to come in. If they get the cancel on the third, that would be big. The Oracle was a little out of position, but it should be able to save this. Oh my god, he gets the cancel! Big screw up by Showtime there. And you know, this is not Rogue looking for a cancel. I mean, he was like, yeah, I'll go over there and see if I can force the Oracle to stay home. Because I killed the Adepts, right? I built these Zerglings to deal with the Adepts. I built just a few extra Zerglings than the minimum needed, just to make sure I could shut them down, and then I'll have map control with them. The fact that he gets a cancel, that is a huge bonus. The third base now delayed about 30 seconds in total for Showtime, and that's a good advantage. Now, where does Rogue take it from here? If he wants to Queen Walk, that's pretty rare, but you can do it on this map, especially if you've got this third base. You can walk kind of over there, in towards their third. It's pretty unlikely, though. And that layer starting up pretty much tells us that ain't going to be the case. No extra gases, no Rotron just yet. I would expect... I mean, Rogue has shown very good Queen Infesta versus Void Ray play, but this is not Void Ray play. Robo Forge on the way. I mean, I'm thinking Spire. I'm thinking Spire has to be what Rogue will want to play here. Kind of just roaches, lings, ravages into Spire, but triple adept coming on in. Quick drone pull. Only loses 2 drones there by the looks of it. No, only 1. I do like the recall. Saves 2 of those adepts, so actually nice reactions there by Showtime. And he's going to clean up this overlord on the left side of the map as well. The double oracle will try to fly around the backside, but Spore plus 2 Queen says, get out of here, dickhead. And just 2 more drones stacking up there to bring the total to 3. All right, guys, we've got 5 gas geysers going down all at once. If you guys needed any more indication, it's going to be that Spire. Well, there you go. Rogue does like to try and get out a big surprise wave of mutas. My question is it a round of mutas or is it mass air? Because I think mass air is the most underutilized style. It's very powerful against Protoss at the moment. And I would love to see it. But if you do that, you need to get a 4th base up and then a 5th base very quickly behind it. Roach Warren goes down so late. Is this a 6-minute Roach Warren? Okay, this is the greed I'm talking about with Rogue, guys. He has 6 queens, 10 zerglings, and he doesn't drop a Roach Warren until 6 minutes. Are you effing kidding me? That is so obscenely greedy. Nobody, like Lambo in his wildest dreams, would not even consider doing that. He would be like, oh, I'm dropping it at 5 minutes 15. This is so late. You know, like Lambo would have a cheeky grin on his face, feeling like he's being naughty. But if Rogue thinks you're just going to play defensive and feels he has that information and that read, he will push it to its absolute limit. And now he's going for the 4th base, but look, he's just going to come in with a big round of mutas. And because he hasn't built a single roach defensively, he's got just a few lings out front picking off probes, being annoying. He feels like, hey, I know exactly what Showtime wants to do in this game, and Showtime's not exerting any pressure. He's not staying unpredictable. Not to mention, oh no! Showtime gets lured into the open. A big wave of Zerglings, and this is so huge because this distracts Showtime so much. Now, great force fields are going to keep his units alive a little bit. If those 2 sentries go down when these force fields break, this is well worth it. A lot of Zerglings will die, but look at that. The sentries are in the open. He's trying to get back to the shield battery, and he gets back. Actually, that was pretty impressive for Showtime. But guys, the mutas are coming out. He's already got 12 mutas on the way. I expect the gases to go down there and a 5th base to go down over here very quickly. Because if you're going to play mass air, you want to keep up that muta production. You want to add Corruptors versus their Phoenix. Showtime has no idea what he's up against right now. He does not know it's the Spire. And he's literally just going to die. The mutas skim past the Oracles. I don't think Showtime noticed it. He's got a cannon coming up in the main. A cannon would not be enough. A cannon and a battery would not be enough. This is 12 mutas. Rogue does go in a little messy with the first few mutas, but it's all about the timing. 7 minutes 40, and he's already got 12 mutas coming in. A 4th base going down. Ain't no way you're going to defend that. The cannon does fall. Lings coming forward as well at the same time. Already, though, Archon does get picked up and dropped back there. Oh, no! Artosis! Artosis pylon! Artosis! This is what happens. He might be a great commentator. He might have great analysis and game sense, but without Tasteless, he's nothing! You always need a backup for your analytical caster, for your big brain Tosis. You need a Tasteless, man. It's Bert and Ernie. No one watches the Ernie show. No one watches the Bert show. We watch the Bert and Ernie show. The Ernie and Bert show. The Bernie and Ert show. I don't know what I'm talking about. Neither do you guys. I just know that Rogue has honestly just been so greedy with going straight towards the mutas. It's been such a surprise. He just kept him busy with Zerglings, built around a mutas and said, lol. Look, and he's just holding the muta key down. He doesn't care about Phoenix because he managed to hide this for so long. He hid the Spire in that natural, in that one of the hardest spots for the opponent to scout, and he just shut him down. And this is, I mean, Rogue makes it look so easy. There's a reason why we call Rogue the hype killer. Some of you may have heard me call him that many times over the years, because this is what he does to top tier opponents. He makes them look not that great. Showtime really doesn't come out of this looking like a good player. Guess what? Maru has played GSL Grand Finals versus Rogue where he comes out looking like a scrub in about half of the games. It's just the way it is. When you play against Rogue, it's like, lol, 6-minute Roach Roar, not going to build a single gas unit all game other than mutas. Seriously, guys, he hasn't built any gas unit this entire game. All he spent gas on was Ling Speed, +1 melee, the Spire, +1 air attack, and the Mutalisks themselves. This is just everything goes into the mutas, and I will roll over the top of you. And it, obviously, I mean, Showtime didn't realize what he was up against. It's kind of unfortunate. He clearly thought this was a different setup. Let's go back a few minutes and just kind of analyze, like, hey, wait a second. Okay, so do we count this as Showtime scouting being bad? Well, I think this Spire is surprisingly quick, guys. This went down at 5 minutes 40, which means his lair started a lot quicker. You got to remember, Showtime's been playing against a lot of Euro Zergs who will not get their lair this quick. They're so focused on their drones getting up, their fourth base getting up, all that sort of stuff. And I think, you know, with his third getting cancelled, obviously that set him a little further behind. Maybe he should have had a hallucination already going in. But I don't think he was expecting this to be an option this early. Now, was he a little lax? I think he was about to double down on his scouting. But then these Zerglings come at this perfect moment, just as the spy is finishing. And what do? They keep him busy. They set up for the mutas just by keeping Showtime busy. And Showtime realizes, as he deals with these Zerglings, hey, wait a second. I need to, I've been distracted. Okay, I think I'm playing versus like roaches and lings and banelings and stuff. I better take a fourth and build a charge and build more immortals. And he's not really focused on scouting. The oracles have come back to defend. They've been pulled home to back up the defense. So just like, hey, I'm going to build a big round of Zerglings. That hopefully pulls your oracles home, pulls your attention, your scouting home. My mutas fly across the map. I just build 6 drones for these gases, nothing else. And then I just make a billion mutas and lings and I try to kill a bitch. And it works. It works very well. I also think if you look at the way Showtime plays, it makes sense preparation-wise against his style. He goes Oracles. He only builds 1 Phoenix, if anything, in the air other than that. And then he goes Sentries, Immortals, and while he does often play Blink Stalkers, he just as often goes for the Charge Zealots, depending on what the meta is and that sort of thing. So if he'd gone Stalkers, maybe he'd be in a slightly better circumstance. But knowing Showtime, he'd be more likely to be investing in Disruptors at this stage of the game rather than actual Blink Stalkers, as usually that's the priority order he has. So a fantastic game 1 and a crushing victory for Rogue. Let's go into map 2. Alright guys, let's see if he can withstand the absolutely ridiculous onslaught that is this Zerg opponent. Down in the bottom left, it's Showtime. His opponent in the top right, it is Rogue. No, I've got to be very critical, guys. Showtime knew who his opponent was. He had time to prepare, and he tried to play a defensive style. I get that's Showtime's forte, but let's be real, guys. There is only one way to play against Rogue in PvZ. You cannot sit back and defend predictably. You have to feint. If you do not feint versus Rogue, he will make you look like an imbecile. And this is something which everybody falls for all the time, but especially in ZVP, some extent ZVZ as well. I really, and this is me having a very strong opinion, and don't get me wrong guys, Showtime's an infinitely better and smarter player than I am, but when it comes to facing Rogue, he's a special beast, and I watch enough Rogue, and I actually hate Rogue because he makes my favorite players look like idiots, and I love him because, hey, you gotta respect and appreciate the skill and the intelligence it takes to do that, right? I have a love-hate relationship with Rogue because of that. But I feel like what you want to do, and I think Zest did a great job in GSL Season 1, I believe it was last year. Was it this year? In the semis or the quarter? I think it was the quarterfinals. I think it was this year, start of this year. Or I guess, sorry, last year. We're in 2022 now, Pig, technically. It's January as I cast this. But I think early 2021. And basically, Zest mind-gamed the shit out of Rogue. He constantly wouldn't start Warp Gate, and then would actually do a Twilight Adept Glaive build. He did a Stalker drop, and then did a surprise DT timing behind it, like a really late DT timing. He did all these really tricky builds. In the end, Zest did trip over his own feet a little bit and started doing things that didn't make sense in the final game. But he was staying very, very hard to scout, very hard to nail down what he was doing. And Rogue would like get a small read and try to hard counter what Zest was doing, because that's how Rogue plays. And Zest really messed up Rogue's ability to play the game. And Rogue did not look like a very all-powerful player. Yes, he crushed the games he won, but he looked like crap in the games that he lost, like really bad. He just got destroyed. And that's the thing, because Rogue is a guy who will build a 6-minute Roach Warren after his spy has already started. Like, you know, he's that sort of guy. He's also the kind of guy who will, I think I'm exaggerating. I think the layer wasn't quite done, but still, it was very late. He's just so greedy, and he will get caught out. If you can make him think you're doing one thing and then do something very different that counters the counter to that thing, it's a very good way to try and catch him off guard. And at the very least, by opening up a series that way, you can start to make him uncomfortable. For now, though, delayed Warp Gate into Stargate this is very standard. Very mechanical, standard, straight-up play for Showtime. We'll see if he can surprise Rogue. Rogue's playing real typical. He's just left one worker on gas to have a little trickle of gas income coming in. And that Adept is going to move on around as well. Oracle's on the way now. Zergling walks in, and just like clockwork, he gets the scout. Oh, That's so nice, man. Now the Adepts have run in. They haven't killed anything yet, and this is not going well for Showtime. Yet again, he's going to lose 2 Adepts. This is really bad. This is really bad. This happens in some of his games. 2 Adepts. He does get 3 drones. That's not the end of the world because if you think about it, he does force 12 Zerglings. I think that's acceptable. I think that's acceptable because that's a bit of an overproducer Zerglings. And his Oracle is ready as long as he doesn't get his 3rd cancelled. And I think he should be okay with that. It looks like 11 Zerglings now, so... Looks like the Adept killed the Zergling inside the base. But yeah, that Oracle, as long as it defends the 3rd, he should be good. Rogue will not be able to get a cancel. It's already got 500 plus hit points, and there's an Adept there as well. That Adept, by the way, guys, should be there until you build a pylon here maybe and create a choke point, or up here. You got to create a choke point between the Nexus and the pylon. Now, you can't do it on a diagonal, remember? Because Nexi have curved edges, so the Zerglings will just be able to flood in there anyway and surround you. Spore going down in the 3rd. Main and natural spores are finished, so he's played very safe here as Rogue, and his work account kind of sucks. I got to be critical, guys. If you're going to build so many queens so early, do you really need the spore in the main and the spore in the 3rd all so early? I mean, he's going to hold the drone key down now, so he will recover, but feels like Showtime's had a good little income lead off of that Adept opening. And like I said, I don't mind it. Only gets a single Zergling with that Oracle. The other Oracle does come in. He's looking for transferring drones. Just seeing if he can pick up any little pickoffs. Just a single drone. Make it 2, but ow, those queens going to punish him. Does take a bit of damage. Lair goes down. 4 minutes 50, guys. Once again, that's a pretty quick lair. No Roach Warren or anything like that. A few Adepts are coming out here, but there's nothing at home. Oh, how does he even know? Maybe the Overlord saw it, but nothing at the 3rd. Showtime. Uh-oh. He's got to send the Oracle in. There we go. Oracle will come in and clean up these Zerglings, but not before a probe, a pylon, and probably 2 more probes go down here. Well, could have been worse for Showtime. Adepts are going to try and punish Rogue for that one. Remember, it's still very even workers on both sides. It's just that Showtime doesn't really have any units left after he loses these Adepts. His Oracles are going to join up with it. Oh! Oracles do manage to grab just 1 worker, and actually the Adepts are going to shade out. Hey, nice play. Nice play, but they're going to die if they don't recall right now. These Zerglings looking for the surround on those. He's going to shade backwards, trying to get back over to that 3rd. That Oracle's out of energy. Oracles need to go home. Sees the Zerglings. I think it's a good cancel, but he doesn't cancel it. I think he's worried about the 3rd base. And, oh, the Oracle's going to try and kill a few of these Zerglings, but at the end of all this, I don't know, man. This feels like it's still very equal workers. It's really going to rely on who can scout the other and counter what they're up to. And as it is, Rogue said, I went mute his last game. I'm going to do the exact same thing again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Exact same build order. Still no Roach Warren. Just 0 respect if there was like a Glaive Adept follow-up or anything like that. And you can see Showtime. I mean, he's kind of doing the exact same thing. Is he going to get taken advantage of in the same way? Obviously, he should be on high alert. Showtime's response is probably just, hey, I'll scout it this time and not be surprised. Loses an Oracle there, but he will see the Spire. And that's very big. The question is, what is your flexible game plan here as Rogue? Do you just play mass air? Or do you, and commit to it anyway? Maybe just prioritizing the gases on the 4th, maybe the 5th base a bit earlier, or do you swap into mass ground, right? Because a lot of players, when their Spire's scouted, they'll try and just do a big ground attack, you know, swap in a Roach Bane, Ravager Bane, that sort of stuff. We'll have to see how this one goes. Drones not fighting there. Drones could have got a good surround. Does just evacuate the drones, though. Probably not a bad idea. When in doubt, evacuating the drones is the better call to get them out of trouble. Phoenix production's on the way. Thing is, Showtime's like, hey, I scouted the Spire. You're not going to commit to that. And you know what? Mass Roach production. Looks like he's correct. Now, the Roaches want to be hidden. Does he see them? He missed the Roaches. Okay, he sees Roaches popping now. That's important. Even a single Roach, that is obviously one of many. And cannon plus battery is defending. 4th base is on the way. And it's just going to be a mass... Oh my god. Rogue is such a baboon. I love it. Guys, he's literally like, yeah, you're going to be building Phoenix and cannons because you have to respect the muters. He even confirms it. Phoenix production sees a cannon. And he's like, yeah, normally a 66 drone Roach Ravager all-in shouldn't work at high level, let alone pro level, let alone against Showtime. But you know what? It's such a simple build. He'll think it's bad and discount it. Showtime at this point is like, oh, you wouldn't do that. That's dumb. That's actually what Showtime's thought process is. This is such a silly push. 3 queens and just max Roach Ravager. And he's just going for it. It's just a giant YOLO Roach Ravager attack. Showtime doesn't even need to defend his 4th, but he's already committed a lot to it. He doesn't have disruptors. He's investing in Phoenix and cannons in the backline, which are going to do nothing against this. And Showtime, what's he got? 1 Immortal. A second Immortal's not even out yet. Okay. He needs more damage. He's only got 1 Immortal with the ranged DPS. The Natural has 1 cannon, 1 battery coming up. That Immortal needs to be very careful. Oh, man. I mean, it feels like Showtime has such a better composition, but he's just got so few units against an overwhelming mass. Rogue is effectively all in, guys. He is down 8 workers with such a worse composition. Mass Roach Ravager does not scale well. He has to kill Showtime right here, right now. But this is how Rogue plays StarCraft. He just goes all in at a whim. He tries to be greedy and then fucking kill you. He shows you Aspire, doesn't use it at all, gets you to commit to some anti-air and says, here's a big roach brick to the face. How do you feel about that? Showtime, he's trying to get a disruptor out, but oh my god, he's getting breached in the natural. Oh, nice pickup. Nice pickup there. Has he used his battery overcharge? He saved it. He hasn't used it yet. Battery overcharge needs to go down now. Needs to go down now in that natural. If he doesn't use it soon, he's going to be in huge trouble. The army on the right does lose an Archon. Battery overcharge does go down. And there we go. The Phoenix coming forward. I mean, Showtime, he's being depowered on the Disruptor. And that's actually going to be what kills him. The fact that he only had a single Robo gets him killed here. And Rogue just pushing on forward. Can he get the Disruptor? 1 Disruptor shot in here would change everything. But I actually think Rogue might be able to break him. He's still got so many Roaches coming in behind this. Big ball comes out, but it's only going to get a Roach and a Ravager. It's too little, too late. The Immortals, there's 2 Immortals left. 1 in the Prism on the top right is still up there. He's trying to clean this out, but the Robo's gone. The Phoenix going to try and pick up the Queens, do what they can. Not going to be able to do a lot there. And Charge Zealots, rather useless units in this scenario. Stalkers would have been much better. Rogue just going to overwhelm with the most simple of strategies. He makes it look easy. He just has such a streamlined opening because he just says, defend the Oracles, defend the Adapts, and then, guess what? Guess what? I'm not going to build a Roach Warren. I'm just going to take the Lair really early so that that's a Spire that really scares you with its timing. If you don't see it, I commit to it. If you see it, I just make Roaches and go. And that's it. It's so simple. It's so simple, but what does it come off the back of? It comes off corner cutting, and I always talk about this. Notice, guys, most people are building 7, 8, 9 Queens, but Showtime doesn't build the Void Rays. Showtime only goes the Oracle. So if you build a Spore in each base, you only need 5 or 6 Queens at most. So Rogue builds a few less Queens than other players. Okay, cool. Step 1. Step 2, he takes his gases insanely late. Notice he's doing a rule of 1 gas build. Only when all 3 mineral lines are saturated does he take his gases. And even then, he prioritizes making sure he doesn't dip below 16 minerals on each base. You see here, he goes, oh, I had a few extra workers on the 3rd. Okay, I'll take those gases. As the next round of drones comes out, which will be after he deals with this bigger depth pressure and this big Oracle pressure, you're going to see he's going to wait till he's back above saturation, and then he drops the 2 gases. When's the Roach Warren go down, guys? Remember I said most players would get it no later than 5:15 just in case? This is why if you manage to be sneaky and hide an attack, Rogue just crumbles. Even at the BlizzCon where he was abusing Swarm Host Nidus, guess what, guys? Rogue was doing that, and he literally wouldn't build a single unit until his Swarm Host. He would have 6 Zerglings on the map and 1 Roach at home, if even that. And then he'd just be like, yeah, let's make 12 Swarm Hosts as my first real army units. And there were games where he got hit by a surprise push and just died. And it was like, what? You can't defend that? Rogue here, he's a cheeky little bugger. Wait, actually, when did he drop that Roach Warren? Let's check the timing on it. And he's very good at macro. And let's see when he drops this Roach Warren. Actually, he dropped it a bit earlier this game. Never mind, he did drop an earlier Roach Warren this time. I missed that. I'm blind. Now, what's kind of funny is because I'm a baboon, for anyone out there who's a baboon as well, I always build 2 Robos. A Robo only costs 150 minerals and 100 gas. And the thing is, it's very hard to see these sort of Roach attacks until they're coming across the map. But if you have 2 Robos, you can double produce Immortals or Disruptors. So especially when you're playing an Immortal Charge Archon style with like Oracles and stuff, I really do feel that that can give you a big advantage. Because notice how Zealots aren't really going to help you against that massive Roaches. It's more about Immortals being able to fall back behind batteries and Archons being able to do the same as well. So I think that would have been really nice if you managed to do that. And that would have made a big diff, but it's kind of unfortunate because it's just like Rogue knew that this was a good strategy just because of how effective the mutas were in the last game. Showtime had to respect it. Showtime's like, well, I mean, you fucking killed me with it last time. I gotta respect it, dude. I gotta build Phoenix. And this is a pretty minimal response. He doesn't go second Stargate. He doesn't start Blink. It's just make Phoenix one at a time. And look, he even gets contaminated. If that doesn't convince you that you're actually getting muted, what does? What does, right? And the Queens come forward and they kind of just push the Oracles out of the way. And even just buying a few seconds before the Oracles see the push coming is quite big. Now, Showtime sees it at this point. He's already started the Robo Bay. I think he's already realizing, you cheeky fucker, you're up to something. But he just doesn't quite get it up. And that one Robo, maybe if he had a pylon there, maybe if he built an extra battery or cannon in the natural, who knows? Maybe he holds. But it's a tough one, dude. Very good micro by Showtime here. He obviously had 4 Nexus alive. But once he lost his army units, remember, they go for the economy and they lure the army into the open. That's the secret of Zerg versus Protoss attacks. Rogue does it better than anyone. And there is a beautiful simplicity to the way he plays StarCraft, but it is only working because of the many layers of understanding, complexity, and he loves to take risks, but he does it like a very high-level poker player, where he takes the correct risks, and he does it in the right situations. So he doesn't just play the game, he plays the opponent, and once again, a clean 2-0 that he makes look rather easy. Well played, Rogue, well played.